Hi everyone, it's me, Ms. Farrah Mills. Welcome back to my channel. So, time for another video. I hope everyone's doing really well. So today I thought I would talk about when you decide that you want to transition and go full time, and just give you little bits of advice and stuff that I would have liked when I was younger, because as I said, and as we all know, when I was younger there wasn't any help or anything available, and now we have so much wealth of information for trans people starting out into their transitions when they're younger. And obviously you have people like me and loads of other people online who do videos and give you advice and talk and stuff. So I thought it would be good to go a bit more in depth in a certain couple of little bits and pieces, just things that I think would really help me move along a lot quicker if I'd known these things, instead of procrastinating on whether I should do something or how somebody else felt. So I think the most important thing is when you decide to let other people know that you're going to start your transition, in whatever shape or form that is, whether it's medically or whether it's just dressing or anything like that, but whenever it is you decide that you want to tell people your true self and how you're going to progress for the rest of your life, I think it's always very important to, obviously you have to take into consideration your relationship with the person you're telling, because obviously your feelings are very important, but you don't want to hurt other people's feelings unnecessarily. Obviously some people might struggle with what you're telling them anyway, and that's going to happen. That's, you can't prevent that. But I just mean, the way you tell people is very important. And I think the most important thing when you're telling people about when you're going to start your transition is that you tell them. You don't ask their permission, or you don't ask their opinion, because as soon as you ask somebody's opinion about something, especially a loved one, they are going to give you an opinion that they feel is best for your interests, i.e. that you shouldn't do it because they're worried about you suffering or struggling through something. So they're going to immediately say that they think you should do the best thing for you that would not hurt you, which is not do it. And sometimes people's advice that they think is the best advice is actually the worst advice possible. And in this kind of situation, you don't need any advice for a decision. It's your decision. You're not asking people's permission, and you're not asking them what they think. You're telling them that this is what you're going to do. And you can still do that in a nice way. But I think it's very important to tell people and not ask their opinion, because as soon as you ask somebody's opinion, they're going to give you their opinion, and it may not be what you want to hear. Or it probably won't be what you want to hear, because they are thinking of you in a regard to protection. So they're trying to protect you from anything that might be bad. So I think that's a really important first step, is to make sure that you tell people. The other thing that I think is really important as well, that would be a good idea, is to write down a list of things you want to do with your transition, and try and do them in that order in steps, because I didn't do that and I think everything was all over the place. And I think it does help if you kind of have like a little list of things you want to do and in the order you want to do them. Now obviously you don't have to completely rigidly stick to it, but I think it really helps you to be proactive with your transition and stuff. And then when you don't really know exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing, you kind of just, it takes you longer. I'll say that. So of course then you want to go and visit your GP, or and ask them to get you to go to a gender specialist or a clinic, get them to transfer you to somewhere like that. Or if you don't want to go through your GP, you can just go privately. I think the Charing Cross Hospital in London is a good place to start. So you can sit and talk to somebody with experience. You can find out about how you can start taking hormones, because it's very important, if you're going to start taking hormones, that you go through the proper routes and you don't self-prescribe, because you want to have your levels checked regularly with your doctor and make sure that you're taking the right amount of pills and whatever it is you're taking. Sorry, I don't take hormones personally, so I don't really know too much about them anymore. It's been a long time since I took hormones, but that's another story. If you want to find out about me and hormones, then there's another video on my channel, so go check that out. So that's right, yeah. So make sure you go see your doctor, make sure you go and see your gender specialist, and they check everything is okay. It's a very annoying thing, personally, I think, that you have to go and see someone to make sure that they see you as transgender before you can get started. But this is the world we live in, and personally, as annoying as those things are, if you just play by the rules and go and do what it is you're expected to do, then you're able to get your prescriptions for your drugs, you're able to get your name change documents sorted out, because you have legal pieces of paper from these people that say that you are transgender, and you can get all your passport details changed and your driver's licenses and your bank details. Now that's the next step that I was going to say. Once you have decided, I think it's very important to get your name changed, and your passport and your legal documents all change to your female pronoun and your female name, because the sooner you do that, the sooner you can start doing other things as she. And the quicker you get used to having that, because I think it's very important that you get that changed as soon as possible, because you don't want to be living your life full time as a woman but still have male details and stuff. Now, I know in some countries that's a very difficult thing to get done, but in the UK it's quite straightforward and it's quite easy to get sorted. But so I would suggest that you do that quite quickly at the earlier stages, because you don't want to leave it too late, especially if you want to travel for surgeries and things like that. You need to be female on your passport, because then that could lead to a whole host of other problems for you traveling, especially if you end up in countries that are not comfortable with LGBT people, which is another subject I've discussed on another channel, on another video that you can go check out on my channel. So those are like the most, I would say, the most important things at the beginning of your transition. Even before you start to live full time, I think that it's important to get your name change done and to visit your gender specialist. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with dressing constantly. I mean, before I went to see my gender specialist, I was dressing all the time when I wasn't at my normal day job. When I was younger, when I wasn't at work, I was dressed all the time for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, I would say, before I even went to a gender specialist. Because again, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was procrastinating about getting things done, and you're scared about going to do those kind of things. But the quicker and the sooner you start doing those things and getting them sorted out, the easier it will be for you. I can promise you that. So those are just the first few little things that I thought were quite important things to discuss, and things that I think that you should definitely get sorted as soon as possible. And if there's any other things you want me to talk about as far as the trans journey, then leave some comments in the comment section, and I will do another video talking about specific details of transition, because I know some people have very specific things they want to ask questions about, and they don't always have people who are willing to answer those questions. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has, especially from my trans community. If they have any questions they want to ask me about certain parts of transition, then feel free to leave comments or privately message me, and I will do videos discussing those topics as well. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Lots of love. Speak to you soon.